The Packers finally got their wide receiver. Grossi Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I'm sure I'll get called on day 3. Grossi, and today we're going to break down the 2 Packers picks from night 2 of the 2022 NFL Draft, being Christian Watson and Sean Rhyan. And I gotta say, this draft has been pretty damn good. Starting off with our first pick on day 2 in the second round, the Green Bay Packers traded both of their second round picks to move on up with none other than the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings, who apparently learned how to trade all of a sudden, even though they got fleeced by the Lions. They're like, you know what? Maybe we should ask for a bit more from our divisional rivals, and actually decided to charge the Packers a bit more. Again, this is collusion, and it will be punished to the full extent of the law. But the Packers traded up to the number 34 spot, and they got their wide receiver, and that was Christian Watson from North Dakota State, a guy that we have talked about on this channel. In addition, when Brett Coleman came on, we talked about him as well. Brett Coleman talked about when he went to the Senior Bowl and Christian Watson was winning on every single rep. But Watson, 6'5", ran a 4.36 40-yard dash. He is the example of a super athlete. If you're looking at raw score, this guy is off the frickin' frackin' charts. In 2021, he had 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. On top of that, he's a special teamer, so he could help in the return game if we really want to, though I think the guy that we got from the Raiders is probably going to help with that a little bit more. But everything that I have seen about this guy and looking at his tape is he is a diamond in the rough that was just in a small school. Now, the complaints about him is that he does have a bit of a drop issue, and Goody even said, hey, so did James Jones and Devontae Adams, and it looks like they ended up okay. On top of that, they looked at the competition that he was facing, that it wasn't as fierce as some of the other top wide receivers in this draft, but Goody was very clear saying, if you look at the tape, he was the guy. So that is freaking fracking incredibly exciting. He absolutely has the tangibles to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Packers. The Packers talked about potentially getting him in the first round, but it just wasn't there. I know there were rumors for them to trade up with the Vikings at the 32nd spot, but that didn't work out. Instead, they wind up trading with them in the second round. He is the son of former Packers safety Tim Watson, so you got some Packers lineage that's going on there. And while I know a lot of people are complaining about the fact that it cost a lot, honestly, I think that it's worth it. Looking into day 2, the 2 guys that I was looking at in the second round were George Pickens, who wound up falling a lot further than I anticipated, and Christian Watson. We drafted up, we got their guy. They were aggressive, which a lot of people were complaining about yesterday that they weren't as aggressive, but I think we really got a potential wide receiver 1 on day 2, and I could not be happier. Then, after giving up their 2 second-round picks, the Green Bay Packers didn't pick until their 3rd-round pick at number 92, and they decided to shore up that offensive line with tackle Sean Rhyan from UCLA. And Goody has a lot of success drafting offensive linemen in the draft since 2018. He has only allowed 1 sack since 2020, which is pretty damn good. He's a 3-year starter. He played a whole bunch of left tackle. However, he is versatile enough that he could probably go to guard. I imagine we're not going to have him play left tackle because David Bakhtiari is going to be coming back. But what this really allows is other guys on the line to move around. You have Yash, who could potentially go over to right tackle. Elton Jenkins, he could play guard, or he can wind up playing tackle, and this just gives yet another piece for Goody to utilize in trying to create some depth along that offensive line and really just give us some options. And just looking at some of his tape real quick, the guy is a good run blocker. I will say he definitely can develop, but I think the Packers got a good pick here, and I think just the position itself, Goody has proven more than capable enough to find these guys in the later rounds, this being the 3rd round. And I know we have not had a lot of luck in the 3rd round, but Goody hopes for that to change with this pick. And so looking at our day 3 picks, the Packers, they still have 6 picks overall. They have 2 4th rounders, they have 1 5th rounder, and they have 3 7th rounders. The Packers still can move around. I wouldn't be surprised they draft another wide receiver. They can go safety. They could go nickel corner. On top of that, they could go edge rusher. The Packers still could do a bunch of things. You still have guys like Khalil Shakur or Bo Melton, who were there for wide receiver. I would imagine the Packers are going to double up there. Wouldn't be surprised if they go for it in the 4th round, just because that is a position of need. But the Packers so far, I think, have had a great draft. The fact that they got 2 defensive guys, which really makes our defense, or should make our defense, much, much better. And they still got a guy who could have gone day 1 as wide receiver. I think that's an absolute home run. While they did give up their 2 2nd-round picks, they were able to go and get their guy, basically making sure that they didn't get screwed out of getting a wide receiver that they want. They went up, they got him, and I could not be happier. And hell, we got some depth at the offensive line as well. But let me know what you think about the Green Bay Packers selections today. Does this change your opinion on the Packers picking in the 1st round, going pure defense? Does this make you feel a little bit better? What do you think they're going to do in day 3? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out Patcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But folks, it's been a hell of a time. Tomorrow, no stream, at least during the day, maybe at night just to recap everything, but there will be videos that are going to be covering the Green Bay Packers picks. But I appreciate you tuning in. This was a very successful draft, and I thank you very much for that. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.